Hello there. Greetings, survivors and friends. SHADOWFRAX here with your weekly Rust update, and well, oil be. It looks like the rigs are finally here. There was a slight delay to the patch last night thanks to Steam being an idiot, and a hotfix in the wee hours to fix a couple of issues, but they should now be a permanent feature of most servers and working as slick as intended. The delay in adding these things was partly due to making them more than just a passive monument, like a sperm kit for sailors or something, and this is how they work. Because people have been known to get a little bit protective over oil, you'll find about 20 of the Blue Man group here ready to meet you, and you'll need to suppress them before you can explore properly. There are a few crates stashed away behind keycard doors here, but the main prize is a locked one that will spawn at the top. Hacking this will initiate a new event, which will land you in some pretty deep water. The Chinook will appear on the horizon, touch down on the helipad briefly, and 5 thick scientists will barrel out to say hello with the M249s. Once you've survived this, which should be a walk in the park for you, especially if you're a hardened solo player, you can loot them for some decent gear whilst you wait the rest of the 14 minutes for the hacking to complete. Just a couple of notes to make here. The normal Chinook event still takes place on land, and you'll only meet the extra thick scientists here for now, and you may remember that there were actually 2 oil rig models in development. Well, we only have the small one in this patch, and the other will follow later because the AI had to be substantially reworked to make it happen. As Helk says in the dev blog, he's taken on the task of rewriting Rust's artificial unintelligence, as it hasn't exactly been the high point of the game so far, especially with animals. And you can expect plenty of changes in this area, hopefully, as these systems are rejigged. The scientists at the oil rig behave a bit differently to those on land as a result, and although it isn't perfect yet, eventually it will be rolled out to include the rest of the boys in blue, green, and fur. The other biggest change this patch still concerns the ocean, with everything now being better down where it's wetter. Hopefully. A brand new water system has splashed down, which brings with it not just better performance, but waves and foam, and it affects physics of all floating bodies. Junk piles bob around majestically in the surf, and boating has become a bit more challenging, /fun, /vomit inducing, delete as applicable as a result. You'll notice that just like in real life, the water is less turbulent closer to the shore, but unlike real life, the waves currently move only in one direction globally. I do believe that this is something that will change though, and eventually they will head towards the shore from every direction. Additionally, a lot of issues with flickering at the shore were fixed, especially with TSSAA enabled, which is nice. Performance! It's important. We all know this, and so you'll be ecstatic to know there were some decent improvements in this patch. A new light culling system was developed, partly due to how the new oil rig set up like the lighting section at an IKEA, but also because any area with a lot of light sources can negatively impact your potatoes. Basically, now if you can't directly see a light, it won't be rendered, and this not only makes everything run better, but allows for more atmospheric setups in the future. As mentioned previously, with this patch, instead of OpenGL, Linux now uses Vulkan and Mac uses Metal. This should now help the enormous number of players using these platforms. Just make sure that if you're using Linux to install the absolute latest graphics drivers, and ensure you're no longer using Force OpenGL in your startup parameter, as that will cock everything up. As an aside, if you want, you can use Vulkan with Windows too by adding Force Vulkan, although most graphics drivers have issues with it, so it's not recommended. Last month, as you may remember, a new system for creating and destroying entities around you was introduced to reduce frame rate drops whilst trundling around the world. Whilst this did improve things a lot, it introduced an issue where some entities would stream in very delayed. To fix this, entities are now ordered by distance to player, so the closest ones will stream in first. Asset loading performance was significantly improved this patch, which means if you have an SSD, the game now loads 10% faster, and possibly quite a bit better on hard drive. Thanks to the latest version of Unity being more strong and stable, not only were there a few more small optimizations made, but we now witness the return of the world reflection setting, which was disabled a while back as it was causing some random crashes. It is a purely cosmetic thing, but can make a big difference to how interior spaces look particularly. Setting it to 0 will cause objects only to reflect the sky, 1 will reflect sky and terrain, and 2 will reflect pretty much everything. It does impact performance though, so if you're worried about that, then just make sure it's set low. As well as this, 115 megabytes of system and video memory was saved by reducing some textures. Flasher and siren lights now have pass-through, turret parts are far less common in boxes, and a new build process for the staging branch was modules implemented, which works twice as fast and can be cancelled at any point, which means that the development cycle is a lot smoother and faster for the team. Over to works in progress, and we have some new development shots of the giant excavator monument, which as you can see is a proper beast and will be rather fun to explore, I'm sure. As well as the dump truck model, there'll also be a loader to complement it, although these are only props as far as I know, and according to the blog, this monument will appear in the desert. More info will be made available as it progresses, so stay tuned and I'll pass it on when I have it. And finally, a new item is in development straight from
Concept Limbo.
A grenade launcher, although it doesn't look like it'll launch bean cans, sadly, or anything apart from approved projectiles. Looks like it'll fire 6 rounds, but what type they'll be and how exactly we'll get our hands on it remains to be seen. We literally only have visuals at the moment, but hopefully we'll see it in action at some point in the near future. Thank you, chaps. Please suggestively nudge the like and subscribe buttons, ring the bell like you mean it, and join me over on Twitch for live sessions thrice a week. You can catch up with me on Twitter, Facebook, Discord, and my Steam group, plus help me keep the stable lights on via Patreon. I shall catch you all very soon, but in the meantime, keep calm and stay rusty. Cheerio!